Yes, guys, welcome to the first FPL video of the 24-25 season. It feels so good to say that. Well, I'll be reacting to the FPL price reveals that we have had today. We've had 20 players revealed, one from each team, and they have been drip through them throughout the day to us, and I cannot wait to go through them because we have had some big names announced. We've had Erling Haaland's price. We've had Ollie Watkins, the England man, announced. We've, of course, had Mo Salah and a few other interesting ones in there, like Christopher Nkunku and Bruno Fernandes. So I cannot wait to go through those on today's video. As always, if you look forward to today's video or even the season, make sure you drop a like on the video. It feels so good to be back. And of course, if you're not already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you for the support with the Euro Fantasy content. But of course, unfortunately, FPL does take priority on this channel. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I cannot wait to get back talking FPL with you guys. So if you're looking forward to it, make sure you do drop a like. And as I mentioned, if you want to stick around for the season or at least pre-season, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It's a good start to the video because it looks like I'm already got a sneeze coming. So give that a second and that will come out. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. If you're watching this on the stream, let me know in the chat. If you're watching it back, get in the comment section because I, of course, will be answering any questions over the next 24 hours on these prices because we've had 20 today and we're definitely going to get probably 20 tomorrow. And it looks like with how FPL have been announcing it on their website, it looks like we might also get prices on Monday with the game launching on Tuesday. That is my prediction. I don't see them doing it over the weekend. So realistically, I think it probably will be happening on the Monday or the Tuesday. So without further ado, enough waffling. Let's get into today's video where we're going through the 20 players that have been revealed. And again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section in the chat. It'd be really interesting to know. So let's go straight into it. We're going to just take this straight off the FPL Twitter account because that is where they have posted the majority of them. You can check out their official website where they've done a blog going through each thing, but I think the Twitter page is the best one by far to go off. So first up, we have had Mr. Erling Haaland announced. 15 million, which now makes him the most expensive FPL asset in the history of the game. I looked back at previous prices. We had Erling Haaland last year at 14 million. We've had Van Persie at 4 million. Thierry Henry. We've also had a couple of others. Also a shout out to John Terry, who is the most expensive defender of all time, I found out, at 8.5 million. And of course, Cristiano Ronaldo at 14 million. But Erling Haaland has broke the bank, going in at 15 million. I personally am really happy with this. I think Erling Haaland became an automatic pick in his first season that he was in the team, in the game. Then in the second year, of course, Harry Kane went off to the Bundesliga. So we were kind of stuck with only one premium player pretty much in the entire game outside of Haaland and Mo Salah. So we kind of had to put Erling Haaland in our teams. Now at 15 million, I think it is priced enough that we can actually think about potentially going without him, especially if some of the players that we're going to go through actually offer good differentials to Erling Haaland. So I think at 15 million, this is perfectly priced because it means that we are going to get a split in the community. And I don't think we're necessarily going to get the 70-80% ownership that we've seen in the previous two seasons with Erling Haaland. So I'm going to quickly fire off a poll in the chat, guys. So please do let me know. I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are on Erling Haaland. Is Haaland overpriced? I'm going to find out off you guys. So please do let me know in the chat, yes or no on Erling Haaland. Is he overpriced? Will he be in your team? Be super interested to know. But my thought is, I think it's a good price. 50 million makes us think and makes us think whether we want him actually in our team. So Erling Haaland was the first player that came out around lunchtime today. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, on Erling Haaland. The next three players, they gave us a few little defenders from the promoted teams that we could be biting our what's it called? Biting at the bit to get him in our team. So, first up, we have had Southampton's Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who played lots of games in the Championship. I believe he played about 40 in the end. Very, very good player. A player that is going to be 100% a guaranteed minutes pick in this Southampton team for the Premier League. The big thing we have to ask ourselves here is, do we even want a Southampton defender? Well, maybe we will with him being priced at 4 million. a ridiculous value for somebody who we know is going to get guaranteed game time in this Southampton team. They were impressive at the back end of the season as well. So really interested to see who else comes in at 4 million. But we have to have Harwood Bellis on our radars early doors. So I do think he is a good consideration for our teams at 4 million. When we take a look at the fixtures as well for Southampton in the opening games, Newcastle away is not ideal, but then they have Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Man United, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Leicester. Don't think it's a terrible run of games for Southampton and Harwood Bellis at all. So maybe one to keep on your radar, and one that can maybe come in for game week 2, even game week 3 and game week 5 when I do look at them here. So do not be ruling them out as an option for your teams. I do think he is 100% a consideration for us. And previously we mentioned about Erling Haaland going without him. We do need to look at the fixtures, remember. And when we look at Man City, you can see here they have got Chelsea away in the opening game, which is anybody's guess what that will be. But followed by that, Ipswich, West Ham, Brentford. Then two tricky games followed by fantastic fixtures afterwards. So I will say this. Erling Haaland is definitely splitting the community, and I do think you can go without him. However, I will say this. I do think you can also potentially swing with him because the fixtures are fantastic. So Harwood Bellis comes in as the first 4 million defender. I think he's a brilliant pick. Next up, Leif Davis. This is the one that we were all looking for because this is Doughty of last season in the late bloody Luton team. This is a fantastic option at 4.5 million. Super attacking defender in an Ipswich team that are definitely looking to do bits in this upcoming season with some interesting selections in terms of transfers going into this summer window. So really interested to see if Ipswich can continue what they've done in the Championship. Might be a step too far for them, but Leif Davis is one that we 100% have to have on our radars going into this season. Remember, though, it is an Ipswich defender. When we look at their opening fixtures for this season, Liverpool and Man City to kick things off is not ideal. I know he's 4.5 million and you could bench him, but it's not great benching a player from the off when he is 4.5 million. But then they have some good fixtures between then and match day 10. They have got Fulham, Brighton, Southampton, Villa. Some really good fixtures along the way. So I wouldn't be ruling out Leif Davis, even though he has 2 horrific fixtures, but I will need to see something in pre-season to want me to go there. So Leif Davis coming at 4.5 million, a really nice option here. And lastly, one I'm not really much into is going to be Leicester's Ricardo Pereira. The reason being is we literally don't know what he is going to be like because Maresca has left. The Leicester manager, of course, has gone to Chelsea. Pereira was operating in a really interesting position there, either coming in as an inverted fullback, at times operating as a winger. We don't know what we're going to get with Leicester now under Steve Cooper. So very much up in the air right now at 4.5 million. Realistically, I'm more tempted by Leif Davis if I was to choose a 4.5 million defender as opposed to Pereira. But when we look at the fixtures for Leicester, Spurs, Fulham, Villa, Palace, Everton, Arsenal, real mixed bag there, and I don't think they're good enough to justify even touching someone like a Ricardo Pereira. So right now, Leif Davis definitely is the one that we are having the considerations for. And again, guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat. What are your views on the price reveal so far? Are you interested in particular players? Are there ones out there that you think are completely overpriced? And I think there are a couple of very interesting underpriced picks that we do need to look at for our FPL team. So I'll be really interested to know. So we had Erling Haaland come in. I think this is a brilliant price at 15 million because it will split the community massively. Then, of course, we've had the ones here with the budget enabler defenders. Next up, the first positional changes that they announced were, of course, Kai Havertz and Richarlison. I'm very interested by the Kai Havertz pricing, it's worth noting. So Kai Havertz coming in at 8 million. We're going to come on to the other forwards in a minute. But I think if we get in a position right now where Arsenal do not sign another forward, I really do think that Kai Havertz is a brilliant option for our teams. Now, it's worth noting, I do think Arteta will look to back up the forward department or at least replace Kai Havertz. I don't think there are enough goals there to justify a title charge next season. But Kai Havertz at 8 million is really, really appealing. And again, when we look at the fixtures for Arsenal to kick off the season, the one negative that I would say is that the fixtures are difficult. Opening up against Wolves, which I think is good. But after that, Villa away, Spurs away in game week 4, and Man City away in game week 5. And then tricky fixtures in game weeks 9 and 10. So From an attacking perspective, it doesn't feel fantastic investing in someone like a Kai Havertz at 8 million. So on initial viewing, I do think he is great value, but I think looking at the opening fixtures, I don't really think it is the best move for our teams right now. But of course, it is early days. We haven't even had the Euros finish yet. So of course, we are going a little bit ahead of the gun as we speak. But another interesting player is going to be Richarlison at 7 million. Now, again, we have no idea whether he is going to operate as the forward or not in this Spurs team. They definitely could be recruiting another player over the summer, but it's one to monitor because, of course, I think Richarlison's natural position is as a number 9, not off the left-hand side. And if he was, similar to Havertz, to be the starting number 9 for Spurs, at 7 million, it is unbelievable value in this game. I really do think it is a player that we do need to consider for our teams if we do get a position where Spurs actually do keep him as their forward. Again, looking at the fixtures of Spurs, I would argue once again they are very, very mixed bag. They have Leicester away and Everton at home in the opening 2 games, but after that, Newcastle, Arsenal, United in game week 6, pretty abysmal fixtures to kick things off. And if I was looking to invest in a forward with someone like Richarlison at 7 million, I really would have to see something from him over pre-season to even consider bringing him into my team right now. And of course, we have so many other options available to us that I think 7 million for Richarlison, while it looks good value, when we look at these opening fixtures, I don't think it's a great investment for our team. So those are the 2 that got announced in terms of a positional change. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll come back to them in a minute, guys. Next up, we had a few, let's say, underwhelming picks, but ones that definitely kicked on last season, and that is going to be Hudson-Odoi and Antoine Semenyo. So in terms of Hudson-Odoi, he picked up a lot of traction at the back end of last season and really showed his form was integral for Nottingham Forest to really cement themselves as a Premier League team again last season. I do think he is a good pick at 5.5 million. Again, we need to look at the other price of players, but one to monitor definitely because he was absolutely the talisman of that team at the back end of last season alongside Gibbs White. And I do think he will kick on in terms of a winger in this team. The issue with Hudson-Odoi is it always has been injuries. Can he keep himself fit? But I do like him as a pick in this Nottingham Forest team. And again, if we come back to the fixtures for Nottingham Forest, the fixtures I would argue are pretty decent. They have got Bournemouth, Southampton, Wolves in the opening 3. Tricky games against Liverpool in game week 4 and Chelsea in game week 7. But beyond that and in between, really, really favourable fixtures. And I do think, in particular with those home games, Hudson-Odoi could be a brilliant enabler for our teams at 5.5 million. So he right now on my pad is a brilliant option. But again, we need to see how that structures with the rest of the team. Antoine Semenyo, a player that I believe has had a forward change from forward to midfield. So one that I definitely think is a consideration for our teams and was a real live wire last season, is worth noting. I thought he was fantastic for Bournemouth. The big thing again at 5.5 million, does he work with the fixtures that we have for Bournemouth? So I would argue the fixtures are not as good as that of Nottingham Forest. So straight away when we look at the player in hand alongside the fixtures, I think we automatically say to ourselves, Hudson-Odoi, as long as he puts in a good preseason, is probably above someone like an Antoine Semenyo right now, playing in very similar positions for their respective teams. So moving on to some of the more interesting players, it's worth noting, we have got, as they call it, the Egyptian King, Mo Salah. And again, this is somebody that is absolutely going to split opinion right now because some people view Mo Salah as a player that maybe is over the hill a little bit. And other people think that this is still the FPL GOAT, which he probably is, and he can continue. The other aspect that we need to consider right now for someone like Mo Salah is this isn't Jurgen Klopp's team. This is going to be Arne Slot's team, and we are going to probably see a little bit of a difficult period for Liverpool where they're going to have to integrate the players back into this new system. And how long has it been under Jurgen Klopp? A long old time, 8 seasons or so, maybe more. They're used to a certain style, and it may take more than just pre-season for Arne Slot to get them playing the way they want to. Whether that's a good thing, whether that's a bad thing, we don't know right now, but it is going to be very interesting to see if FPL managers take the, and I'm going to call it a risk right now, on someone like Mo Salah for our teams. Now, again, coming at 12.5 million, I think that is really well priced. And the big thing about with Liverpool, even though they do have a new manager, the fixtures for the opening season are just incredible. Ipswich away in the opening day, followed by Brentford. United away, of course, is a tricky game in game week 3. But then after that, Forest, Bournemouth, Wolves, Palace. Really good fixtures in the opening 8 game weeks. And outside of that game away against Man United, I think it's quite a scary prospect not going without Mo Salah. But of course, we need to ask ourselves, what we're going to see in pre-season. Are we going to see Mo Salah play as a left winger? Are we going to, as a right winger? Are we going to see him play as a right-sided forward? We have no answers to these questions right now. So while Mo Salah at 12.5 million, I think is brilliantly priced, 2 things. How's he operating the team? And secondly, if you're going to go for Erling Haaland, do you want to then have 15 million worth of Erling Haaland alongside 12.5 million worth of Mo Salah? Straight away, a quarter of the budget is used up on just 2 players. And while they're brilliant players, it's still a lot of money to be allocating to those. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. In the chat, what are your thoughts on Mo Salah right now at 12.5 million? I think it's a good price. I think it is a fair price for Mo Salah. And of course, he's always a captaincy option in our teams, especially with the upcoming fixtures that they do have. So, obviously, in terms of the polling right now, FPL did run a poll and they asked people who would they choose, Mo Salah at 12.5 million or Erling Haaland if they had to choose one. And the majority did lean, I say the majority, 2/3 lean toward Mo Salah. And we have to remember as well, being a midfielder in the game is a big, big benefit when we're looking at FPL options, because of course, an additional point for clean sheets, additional point for goals, there is definitely more of a appeal going for the premium midfield over someone like a premium forward. So after that, we had the announcements of Jordan Pickford and Bernd Leno. Again, goalkeepers are not the most interesting, but Pickford, of course, was the highest scoring goalkeeper last season. And somebody definitely who was on our radars at 5 million. I think a lot of people are talking right now saying that it's not worth going there. You should go for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. And I do think that still is the strategy, and it's proven to be the strategy on years gone by. Go for a 4.5 million goalkeeper alongside a 4 million goalkeeper and just stick with it, because goalkeepers really, in terms of their actual point scoring, don't really justify paying the premiums for them, because of course, if we go for the players in the big teams, they don't rack up the save points or the bonus points, whereas the players playing for teams that are maybe considered a bit more relegation battler teams, they are going to be obviously accumulating lots of saves and naturally bonus points. And that is what Pickford was last season. So at 5 million, I'm not ruling out Jordan Pickford at all, because the fixtures are mixed. They're not too bad at all. We know what Sean Dyche will do with this Everton team. But what I will say is this: we need to try and identify the next 4.5 million, because of course with Bernd Leno coming in at 5 million, I'm less tempted by this one. I think he had a great season. He's historically been a very good FPL goalkeeper, but I want to be looking for the next 4.5 million goalkeeper. I don't think right now going for a 5 million goalkeeper, especially if you're trying to go for Mo Salah and Erling Haaland, is really worth it. So again, we'll monitor the prices for goalkeepers, but right now, I think Pickford is a good price at 5 million, but I always want to try and find that 4.5 million goalkeeper out there. So after we had the goalkeeper announcements, we had what I'm going to argue is probably the biggest underprice of a player so far in the game. And this one could be Marcus Rashford 2.0. We had a situation where Marcus Rashford was classed as a midfielder at 6.5 million, and it completely broke the game at some point. And I think this is going to happen again with Christian Nkunku. I'm calling it now. We are forgetting how unbelievable Christian Nkunku is in general. This injury across the course of the season is probably completely kind of made people forget how good this player is. Now, again, I'm going to say this. Maresco coming in, I have no idea where Nkunku is going to operate in this team. He may play as the number 9. He may play as a wide left option. He may play as a 10. He may be on the bench. So the uncertainty of Nkunku obviously is a problem when we are looking to invest in him. However, I'm telling you now, 6.5 million for Christopher Nkunku at some point this season will be the biggest steal in the game, maybe in the history of the game. Honestly, this is going to break the game at some point. When we look at the Chelsea fixtures, after Man City at home, which again is a bit of a free hit for Chelsea, they have got Wolves, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton, Nottingham Forest. Unbelievable fixtures. And if by then we've got an established view on whether Nkunku is a guaranteed starter in this Chelsea team, and if he's playing in that front three, he's going to be in everyone's team. No denying whatsoever. So Nkunku, an unbelievable option for our teams. We look at the rest. Solly March, 6.5 million. Again, I'm going to have to see a lot from Brighton because of under a new management to justify going there. But Brighton's fixtures, once again, very mixed. It would take a brave manager to go for Solly March over someone like a Christopher Nkunku. And last up, Pedro Neto, everybody's favourite player. We all love him. He just needs to stay fit. I think he's a brilliant price at 6.5 million. We know he's the talisman of Wolves when he is fit, but we need to see that fitness established over pre-season. So I'm going to be very, very interested to see how he does rack up. But I do think Pedro Neto needs to be on our radars. The fixtures, though, very mixed. So I think for Pedro Neto, we use the opening 6 game weeks to just monitor him, put him on our list and see whether he is going to be an option for our teams going forward. So after that, we had, of course, Bruno Fernandes announced at 8.5 million. And I think, again, this is a player that could, not going to say break the game, but I do think he is a brilliant option. We know he's the heartbeat of Man United. We may see things change slightly with some of the new additions that they're bringing into the team, but I don't think much changes right now. I still think he is going to be a key influence in that Man United team. Now, of course, there are rumours of him potentially leaving Man United. I'll be astonished if that does happen. And this is the guy that just ticks all the boxes from an FPL perspective. Probably on penalties, guaranteed game time, never gets injured, and we know he has a big influence in terms of goals and assists, especially in this Man United team. 8.5 million could be a steal at some point, 100%. I just need to obviously see the price of some other interesting players like Bukayo Saka, like Palmer. But once we get those, we can really start to establish whether we think someone like a Bruno Fernandes is actually an option for our team. So really interested to see. And when we take a look at the fixtures for Man United, Fulham, Brighton, Southampton in game week 4, Palace, real mixed bag. But I really do think that he is going to be a viable option for our teams. And with the likes of Haaland up top, we don't know the price of him. Rashford, we don't really know the status of him. If I had to go for a Man United option, I already think at 8.5 million, Bruno Fernandes is a safe bet for our teams. So really liking Bruno Fernandes at this price point right now. I think he could be a brilliant option for our teams. So of course, we still had a few other prices to be announced. Mateta coming in at 7.5 million. Maybe a curse, maybe a blessing. Obviously, at the end of the season, he was one of the most informed players in the league and he was unreal. Is he going to replicate that with the absence of Michael Olise and maybe the rumours of Eze leaving? This is one that we definitely need to monitor at the start of the season, because if he comes in hot again with that form, then at 7.5 million, he is fantastic as an option. But again, we need to see what the status of Crystal Palace is going to be. Michael Olise leaving is obviously a huge factor for creativity purposes. So we just need to get a bit of an understanding of whether Mateta can continue that form. Again, I want to go back to the fixtures because this is so important when we're considering players. I always look at game week 1 and say to myself, is game week 1 a fixture that we can actually predict? Sometimes we don't know what formation managers are going to play, what starting 11. So I always use the first few game weeks as a bit of a testing period to see which players do operate well, which ones are underpriced, which managers are selecting the right team. With Palace in the opening fixtures, I think we have a good opportunity here maybe to avoid them, but to really monitor them, thinking to ourselves, okay, if they look good in the first 3, I could look to maybe invest in them around game week 4 if they continue that attacking style football under Glazier. Now, after this, Ivan Toney. There's no point even commenting on Ivan Toney right now. The interesting thing about it is, if he was to get a move to somebody like an Arsenal and he was to be a guaranteed starter again, this is a price that breaks the game completely. At 7.5 million, if he goes to Arsenal, he won't go Tottenham, but if he was to go Tottenham, in a big team like that, put him in my team straight away because, as I said, on penalties, unbelievably proven in the Premier League now, established forward and a proven goal scorer. So I really do think Ivan Toney is just one to watch. We cannot comment right now to say that he is actually a consideration for our teams, but he definitely is going to be one that if he gets a move could actually break the game a little bit. So I'm really interested to see regarding Ivan Toney. So of course we had a few more prices revealed. Let's go through these before we wrap this up. Jarrod Bowen coming in at 7.5 million. Don't really know what to make of this one, to be honest with you. I think there are so many exciting options in the game right now that Jarrod Bowen's probably looking a little bit under the radar. But when we look at actual consistency of returns, Jarrod Bowen has always been Mr. Consistent in that West Ham team. Now, of course, we need to monitor to see what the ins and outs of West Ham are going to be. And I think we all rightly so are looking at someone like a Kudus and thinking, what is the price of Kudus? Because if he's coming in cheaper than Bowen, I think we're all going to naturally be saying to ourselves, avoid Bowen, bring in Kudus. And we need to remember as well, it looks like Paqueta is going to leave West Ham. So that could negatively affect them from an attacking output. So Bowen, don't really think I get that excited by that price at 7.5 million. When we look at the fixtures as well, a little bit mixed. Again, I think he will tick over nicely, but I don't think there's a world right now where we're going to be jumping to put Jarrod Bowen in our teams. Now, the one that I think we've all been waiting for, and again, a reason why I'm not that excited by Jarrod Bowen, is because of Anthony Gordon. 7.5 million, the same price as Jarrod Bowen, and he was incredible last season, kind of making a bit of a mockery of his price. Started at 5.5 last year, ended around 6.4, one of the highest increases in prices, and he rightly so has got his price rise to 7.5 million. Now again, we don't really know what's going to happen with him. There's a few rumours of him potentially moving to Liverpool. If he does, I think he actually becomes a worse option because there will be rotation. But with him being at Newcastle, and if he stays at Newcastle, we know goal scorer, guaranteed game time, and even potential penalty taker in the absence of someone like Alexander Isak. So Gordon for me at 7.5 million is a fair price and one that I think naturally we're going to be tempted to. Now, when we look at the fixtures for Newcastle, I think they're pretty decent. I can't lie. We always look at those home games because that is where Newcastle really get their results. Southampton, Bournemouth, Spurs, Wolves, Fulham. Only 2 home games in those opening, and then the next one is Man City at home in game week 6. So, for me, I think Gordon is just a safe bet over that period. And with the fixtures that they have, even though they're mixed with Spurs, Man City, I think there's enough good fixtures there to say to ourselves, as long as we see a positive pre-season with Newcastle and Gordon, I think he's probably going to be in our teams from the off. I think we'd be quite scared to not go for someone like an Anthony Gordon. But again, we need to monitor to see what the other prices are going to be. So finally, I believe the last pricing was going to be Ollie Watkins, the England hero, the man who got us to the final, 9 million. Now, we need to remind ourselves, this was one of the most consistent performers in the game last season. It felt like if you didn't have him, you basically will drown in each and every game week. I had a period where I moved away from Watkins to Darwin Núñez. You guys need to remind me not to ever do that again, by the way. I'm holding you all accountable. If I do Watkins to Darwin Núñez again next season, you need to come up and find me in real life and slap me in the face. You have to do that because I done it 2 or 3 times last year and it burnt me every time. When we're looking at consistency, we're looking at players that we want real confidence in investing in. It's Ollie Watkins. Now again, we need to remember Douglas Luiz has left Aston Villa, so that is going to negatively impact them in a manner. But also, we need to remember now Ollie Watkins will be the penalty taker most likely in this Aston Villa team. It was ridiculous to see the returns that Ollie Watkins had last year, over 200 points, and he didn't take penalties, which is ridiculous. So now we've got a 9 million forward with guaranteed game time in a great Aston Villa team, and importantly, could be on penalties. I'm trying to think of an argument not to have Watkins. So we're going to take a look at the fixtures to see if there's maybe a chance that we could say no to Watkins. And I'm looking at the fixtures. West Ham, Arsenal, Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich. Unbelievable fixtures. A brilliant price at 9 million. Proven goal scorer. On penalties. Straight in the team. I don't think there's anything, unless we see injuries, unless we see a decline in Aston Villa over pre-season, that we can go without Ollie Watkins at 9 million. I think right now, a general structure is going to be Haaland, Salah, Watkins, build the team around those as we speak. But of course, it's early doors. We have a lot of prices still to be announced. But right now, I cannot see a way of us not having Ollie Watkins in our teams. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, guys. I'm going to come to that in a minute because I'm conscious I've been rambling on for a while. But if you're watching this on the live stream, let me know in the chat now what your thoughts are. If you're watching this back, get in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are on Ollie Watkins, because at 9 million, he's not priced high enough for me to think to myself, ooh, I can't really put him in alongside Erling Haaland. We've built drafts in the past where we've had a premium and a mid-price forward alongside a budget enabler. Maybe that's going to be the year once again where maybe we have Erling Haaland, we have Watkins, and then maybe we have that cheap enabler at 4.5 and we invest our money in the midfielders. So let me know in the chat, guys. I've just put it in a poll here. Is Watkins underpriced? Let me know in here. I'll be super interested. I personally think he is, I'm going to put a fair price, because I do think it is a fair price, but I also would argue it is underpriced, if anything, because like I said to you, when I'm looking at investing in a fantasy option, I want a few things, and realistically, he ticks all the boxes, especially if he now is going to be a penalty taker. So let me know in that poll what your thoughts on Ollie Watkins are. So those are the 20 that we've had announced, guys. We've had all of them done. We're going to have plenty of prices coming tomorrow. So I'll be super interested to know what your thoughts are. Just going to go through some of the chat right now. Anthony saying Nkunku is a must. I'd say yes. I do think Nkunku, as long as we see guaranteed game time from him, he is going to be a phenomenal option in our teams. Alex saying, can you build a draft? Unfortunately, not right now. Only reason being is we haven't actually got all the prices for players, so it might be a little bit counterintuitive to build a team right now. I can't lie. Let me just see if Peter over at FPL Team has updated his prices right now. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to get this up, because anyone that doesn't check it out, fpl.team, Pete over there is unbelievable. Has a fantastic planning site that I use all of the time, and I do think it is one that probably he has already updated, knowing Pete. So let me just quickly check it out. FPL.team. It's FPL.team for anybody that is wondering. I think he's probably doing a bit of maintenance to it right now, so that's probably why it's not uploading. But hopefully when you're watching this back, if you want to go check it out, he has updated it with some of the prices already. I'll let it run in the background, and if it does pop up at some point, I will check it out and we'll see how it looks. But right now, unfortunately, it isn't showing, so we'll check it out. But in terms of the players, guys, I can see a lot of people are voting in the poll saying that Watkins is coming in at a fair price. 30% is saying, yeah, he's underpriced, and the rest are saying overpriced. Sorry, not underpriced. So I do think that he is coming in at a fair price, but I do think it is going to depend on the other forwards in the game right now. Oh, I think I've somehow zoomed out on my page. Hang on. Let me just get back the fixtures on your screens for you guys. Okay, so I can see some other stuff in here. Oh, Jordan, hope you do. Jordy, just saw that, mate. I saw your class logo there, mate. Immortal Technique, hope you do well, mate. Beardy, hope you're well, mate. I'm axing Haaland this season. Watkins, and it's like, yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on Haaland? What are the thoughts on Haaland? Obviously, I've titled this video, Avoid Erling Haaland. I don't think we necessarily have to avoid him, because, of course, he is a proven player, one of the best we've seen in the game. But at 15 million, what I am super excited about is the aspect that we can actually go without him. It feels like previously, with his price, it's just doesn't make any sense to go without him. It just makes no sense to go without him, because we had Haaland last season, Kane left, and we were left with Watkins. So everybody had Haaland and Watkins, and they put Mo Salah in because there was no real reason not to. This season already, Haaland's given us a little bit of a headache, because, of course, being at his price point, we think to ourselves, ooh, maybe we can go without him and maybe have a Haaland, Tony if he starts somewhere else, and maybe have 3 players at 21 million as opposed to spending 15 on one specific player. So again, super interested to know your thoughts on Erling Haaland right now. My general conclusion is a brilliant price point that is going to split the community, and rightly so. I want to see his ownership below 50%. That is the big thing for me. So it doesn't break the game. It means captaincy is mixed, and it makes the game way more exciting. And I think a lot of people have been saying it's been a bit boring because of the pricing of certain players. This is going to split the community massively in a good way. Benny, well, mate, hope you're well. And again, for anyone that's actually questioning about the Euro fantasy content, let's just say this. It's been a bad few weeks for my team, but FPL's back, and I'm an England fan, and I'm delighted. So Euro Fantasy has gone bad, but I will be dropping a video tomorrow with my updated plans. But my recommendation, maybe not follow me, because I'm having a bit of a stinker over the last few weeks, but I can't lie, I'm just all about England right now. So I have I've took my eye off the ball just a little bit. Isak is going to be a fantastic option depending on his price. Trent should come in at 7 million. Yes, I would like to see him go down a little bit in price just to really make it interesting in the game. Because I think if he goes at 8.5, 8 million, we might look at it and think, not worth it. Especially in Arnie Slot's team where we don't actually know where he's going to operate in that side. I think Watkins is a must. 9 million is the perfect price for him. Yes, I do not see a world where we don't have Watkins in. He was the perfect FPL player last season, and now he's that plus penalties. It's a no-brainer. Connor City saying, do we know when the game will launch? Okay, so based on what we saw on their website, they were putting up stuff about how they're going to do player price drops Thursday, Friday, but it said also to keep an eye on Monday. So I think the game drops Monday evening or Tuesday. I think they're going to wait for the Euro final because everyone's excited about FPL, but no one's actually that fussed until England finish up and win the Euros. Isak, Mateta and Tony, if he gets the move, 100%. I think that is going to be a very interesting combination for people. Harrison, if Gakpo has moved into midfield, he might be a good differential, 100%. Really interested to see Gakpo. I think he could be a brilliant option if he becomes a midfielder. If he's a forward, no one's going to consider him at all. Jonah, what do you think about Foden's price will be with Haaland at 15 million and could he be an alternative? Yeah, 100%. Foden has to be competitively priced. With Gordon at 7.5 million in the season that Foden had, I think he might come in at 9.5 million. That's my prediction for Foden. Then it makes it interesting. I think this season already we are going to lean towards maybe Haaland, Watkins, 4.5 million forward, and then spread it out in the midfielders. That's my current prediction right now. Bro, can you do the best 5 fixtures? Yeah, so in terms of the best 5 fixtures, I don't actually have an active ticker right now. I'm currently getting one done on the graphics, so I will get that sorted for you. This stream, we're just kind of going through general websites, really. But what I will say is this. In terms of the big teams, because that's what we're looking at right now, Arsenal, I think, is very mixed. And I think defensively, it's going to be one of those where some are going to go for the double up still. And I think some might avoid, which is going to be very, very interesting. Because Villa in game week 2, Spurs in game week 4, City in game week 5, and all of them away from home, I think Arsenal is going to split opinions. Villa, I think, is brilliant. I think Villa is going to be a double up if we get a good value midfielder or defender. Chelsea, again, game week 1 will put a lot of people off, but if we see good things in pre-season, I think Nkunku will be in everybody's team at 6.5 million as a bit of an enabler. The rest of the big guns, Liverpool is just absolutely essential into our teams. I think triple up, double up minimum, unless we see Arnie Slot just do some weird stuff where we have no confidence in him. The fixtures are just too damn good. City, the fixtures are ropey, but we always back City in any fixture. Man United is the big one. I think there's going to be some real value at Man United, and I think we're seeing good things with the setup of Man United going forward. Interested in Man United. Newcastle, I think Gordon's going to be in everyone's team. Spurs, I think Spurs is going to split opinion once again. Everyone's going to look at game week 3 and 4 and think to themselves, oh, I like them for 2, I don't want them for after that. They have to really price players well for us to be tempted by Spurs assets, I think. I'm delighted Haaland's 15. Peter saying, yes, I agree. I think it is a brilliant price. Emma launches late Tuesday, but more than likely Wednesday, reading what they've said. Yes, I think it might be Tuesday evening. I think they're just going to be like, let's just get it out to the people, get it promoted by content creators and just the general public in general. Now, I never know your name, Garnach Eagle, but is it Garnacho or something? And I'm not seeing it right. So happy FPL is back. Can't wait to enjoy your content with it also. Thank you, mate. Hopefully upgrading everything, but just getting it done in the background right now. So fingers crossed over the next few weeks, you'll see a bit of an upgrade on the channel. Fingers crossed. And Harrison, when can we do our first draft? Well, I'm just having a look right now to see if Pete over at fpl.team has got his site working because he's slacking right now. But what I will say is it is a brilliant site that I highly recommend a lot of people checking out over the season. It's a free tool where you can plan your teams out in advance. Real smart. Just seeing if we can actually get on it right now. But I got a feeling he's doing a bit of background work right now, which is understandable considering it's the first day of FPL with the prices coming out. So he's probably updating everything. So we will come back to that. But look, this was just going to be a quick reaction, guys. Oh, hang on. Let's see here a minute. Okay, he's got it up. Of course Pete's got it up. Absolute goat. Okay, so let's get this up. We're going to end the video with this. Now, let's be real. We haven't got any of the prices outside of what we know. So this is kind of a pointless exercise completely. But he has got some of the predictions at least in here. So let's just put a few of the ones that we know right now. and then we can actually actively put in the rest. So I can't even put Haaland in. Pete, why can I not put Haaland in? I think he's got a bit of a dummy site up. Give me a second. If this doesn't work, we'll can it and we'll come back to it in a bit. Okay, I got a feeling Pete's doing a bit of necessary background work, so please do not judge FPL team based on what I'm showing you right now, because it is a top tier site, so make sure you do check it out. But I think give him a break. He's just updating things, so don't worry. But definitely come back to this. I'll do a video on it later. Jonah, what's your target rank for next season? What's the point in playing if you're not in Ham and Newcastle? No, let's be real. I'm aiming for 100%, but I am a curse of my own success in the past. As you might know, for those that tune in, finished 270th in the world. Oh my goodness. No, I don't think we can. Oh, we can. Margarita, thank you for saving the day. I was an absolute... Right, we'll quickly build a draft. Thank you. Usually Peter has the little plus signs by the players, doesn't he? But this is my bad. Okay, let's fly through some of the players. What we're going to do firstly is just put in everybody that we know the price of right now, because let's be real, we got so many that we don't know the price of. So let's chuck in Pickford. Where you at, Pickford? 5 mil. We've got Leno in. And we'll just get a bit of an idea, a little bit of a taste on what we can actually afford in the game. So in terms of defenders, let's put Leafs. Leaf Davis obviously is going to be a huge pick for a lot of people. We have got Harwood Bellis. There we go, 4 million. What great value 4 million is. We're then going to chuck in. Who else have we had announced, guys? Let me know in the chat who else we have. Oh, okay. Okay, I think there's let's come off that for now, because at the end of the day, I think Pete's getting things updated. So we're gonna wrap this up here. What I'm gonna say is this: plenty of content coming, guys. Plenty of content coming. So make sure you are subscribed if you're not already. It'd be awesome to have you on board. Give you a bit of an idea of what's coming up. We'll do more price reactions tomorrow once we get those updated, because they're going to be probably 20 more tomorrow. Some really interesting ones coming. I'll be giving you a Euro Fantasy update in tomorrow's video as well. So I'll be going through that, and then when the game launches, it's going to be regular daily content going through basically everything you want to know. So if you're not already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It'd be awesome to have you on board. And if you enjoyed this stream, please do drop a like. If you're watching this back on playback, if you have any questions, if you have any general chat or any thoughts about the prices, get them in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer them. But look, it's exciting. FPL is back. I cannot wait to be doing content over this summer. Eurofans has been great. Can't wait to wrap it up and then get on to what I would say is probably the more focused professional stuff in FPL. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I will see you in tomorrow's video.